Hey everyone, this is Coloring Chemist. My name is Connie and welcome back to my channel. This is the little intro to my March completed pages video. I'm filming this on Easter Sunday, actually. Sunday, March 31st. And I don't know if you can see that. There's a little woodpecker on the tube feeder out there. He's not really pecking out there, he's pecking at something. For a while he was just kind of hanging out there. That is a downy woodpecker. They have a larger cousin that I also get around here. I say cousin, I mean they're bird cousins. Called a hoary woodpecker. But they're very similar in coloring. They are black and white, and they have the males have the little red patch on the back of their head. You can see that there. But the downies are smaller, so that's a little male downy woodpecker. But this is Easter Sunday. This is pretty typical here in my neck of the woods. And oh, okay. So now you can see, is that another downy? It could be another downy. Doesn't look big enough to be. Yep, there's another 2 downy woodpeckers out there. But this is pretty typical for my neck of the woods on Easter. Easter falls early this year, but even when it's a little bit later in April, we often sometimes still have snow. So when I was a little kid growing up here, I never understood. I'd see these storybooks with, they'd talk about children in their Easter dresses and Easter bonnets, and they'd be outside, hunting for Easter eggs. And I never understood that. I mean, you could put them out there. I don't know if you'd find them. You'd find them when it melts. But yeah, I just thought I'd do a little intro film here for my completed pages because, sorry. Let's see if I can, for those of you that, there they are. Oh, apparently they're all done now. Oh, the other one's over there. So there you go. Enough of the birds, on to my completed pages for March. So here we are with my March 2024 completed pages. For me, I think I did quite a bit. I normally don't tend to get this much done in a month. And I was also trying to do, well, kind of what I had said that I wanted to do from the beginning of the year, which was to use my stash. Color in books that I hadn't colored in before, use supplies that had been, ignored, neglected, forgotten about. So I think I did pretty well with that this month. We'll see how April goes, but yeah. So let's get started. So I'm going to push this pile to the side here, and I think we'll start with the mandala book. So this is a Color Ya book, not Color It. They are French books. They are tough to find in Canada and the US. I think I got this one from Amazon UK, so the shipping was steep, but I really enjoy these Color Ya books. They look very similar to the Color It books that we can find more easily in Canada and the US, but the paper is different. I actually prefer this paper. So this is Mandala's Night Volume 2. The Volume 1 is one of the few books that I've completed beginning to end. And I don't know if I've ever done a full flip on that. I think maybe I flipped through some of it, or maybe all of it, when I did my Evolution as a Colorist video. But if anyone would like to see a full flip through that book, just let me know in the comments. I did a few pages in here. They're okay. They were more just mindless. That's kind of what I use mandala books for quite often. When I don't want to think about shading and I don't want to think about, that kind of stuff. So I did the title page here. It wasn't anything spectacular. It was just some alcohol markers and a few gel pens. That was it. And then I did this page, which is Dragonfly. Again, nothing spectacular. So what I did do though was And I think I've done this maybe in the other Mandalas Night book of theirs. I outlined the dragonfly in black Jelly Roll glaze. And because it's against a black background, it just seems to really differentiate it, you know, from the, I mean, the coloring does too, but, and then the body itself is all just black Jelly Roll glaze. And then there's just some alcohol marker and various gel pens in there, which is kind of, I was just grabbing. I wasn't even really thinking. So I don't know how cohesive the color palette is, but I was just grabbing things. This next one, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, you know what? I do know what I was thinking. I was thinking, Connie, you always tend to color in more pastel muted tones. You should color something bright. So that's what I did. I grabbed a magenta marker, did the background, I don't even know if you can see that, and then a lime green marker, and did other parts of the background, and then some glitter gel pens. I don't know. It's very bright. That's a very bright color palette for me. It was kind of fun. It's fun to see a magenta and a lime green marker. I wouldn't often color things magenta or lime green, but there you go. So that is Mandalas Night Volume 2 by Color Ya. This is actually the first page I think I completed in March. Because this was kind of a whip from the end of February. And for those of you who've watched my channel for a while, sorry, there's a glare there. There we go. I really like tiny, teeny details. So when I saw this is an older Creative Haven book. This is Angela Porter, Insanely Intricate Entangled Landscapes. I thought, that's for me. So I bought this one, I think this was back January, February. This was part of my haul, I think, for back then. And this is the first page that I've done in it. And it's very intricate. There's a lot of things going on. I used the Stabilo pens that I had been purchasing. So there's some Stabilo fine liners, which I really love. I like the Stettler ones too, but the Stabilo ones have some really nice muted colors. And then Stabilo, so they call them Stabilo .88. That's their fine liners. And then they make a .68, which is, it's kind of like a bullet tip, felt tip pen. And they have a few brush ones as well. Wish they had the whole color line of the brush. But yeah, so this is, I think this is 2016. It's the rougher, kind of cheaper Creative Haven paper. So even those water-based markers did a little bit of bleeding. I did minimal shading because when the details are this tiny, I mean, what are you going to do, right? Maybe a little bit in the trees, but it was very relaxing to not have to worry about shading. And I will see what I can do here because there's so many details. You see? There's a little bit of sparkle here and there. Probably tilt this down a bit. You can see there's a little bit on those bubbles there. I think a little bit on the butterflies. Not too much. I think I put some Jelly Roll clear glaze on the fish eyes. But yeah, it was just insanely intricate. And you know what? I loved it. I love doing it. So I'd like to do more in this book. March, of course, we had St. Patrick's Day, and I have this Camellia Angelikova Celtic mandalas book. I did two in here. The first one I'm not very impressed with. I don't know what I was thinking. So it's this one here. It's gel pens, and again, just kind of a alcohol marker background, but even the colors of the gel pens just are not working. I think I should not have thrown that copper in there. I don't know. Is what it is. And then I did this one, and I think this one worked out a little bit better. So again, alcohol marker background, and then gel pens. This is I think they're mostly just, either Jelly Roll or Pentel Metallic. There's some Jelly Roll Glaze. That's the dark green here, and then the circles. And then it looks to me like maybe the Pentel Dual Metallic Gold. So there's some glitter, and then some gold glitter in there too. Yeah. That was a little bit of Celtic St. Patrick's Day coloring there. So in terms of books that I hadn't touched, I hadn't done any in the Mandalas Night, and I hadn't done any in the Entangled Landscapes. But I had done more. Those weren't the first pages that I had done in this book. I was just sort of doing this book in order, so I just did the next two. So I had done pages in this book. I had never done a page in this book. And so I chose, well, kind of an Eastery spring page. So this is Cute Mandalas, Apsi Suminasiri. Hope I said that correctly. And I did this one. I did color this a little bit over here too. So there's a little bunny holding a heart. I did a little bit of shading on the bunny, a little bit of shading on the flower pots, and a little bit of shading on the carrots. And that was about it. The hearts are just a metallic, I think a metallic Jelly Roll purple. And the ladybugs, the dots are black Jelly Roll Glaze, or maybe even the clear Jelly Roll Glaze, because I think they were black already. The white little daisies are the Signo white broad gel pen. And the coloring on the bunnies and the pots and the carrots is Pitt pens. So I used Pitt pens. Someone had asked about this in, in the background is, I think it's Pan Pastel. The metallic blue, maybe? Because I can see a little bit of, if you can see that, a little bit of shimmer to it. I tilt the page. Pitt pens don't go through. Someone had asked about Pitt pens in when I did that series of videos, and they said that they found they worked really well on Joanna Basford and Melpomene Chetspaniyotu books, which they do, and less so on like Rita Berman. And I think that's true. On the Joanna Basford and the Melpomene books, because the page is so smooth, you actually get just some incredible blending and smooth blending too. On paper like this, which is still, you know what, it's good paper. I think it's not, but I don't think it's quite as smooth. If you can see like the blending on the bunnies. I'll lose some light if I get it too close there, I guess. It's almost a little mottled looking. But you know what? I think I'm kind of embracing that. I don't know, it almost gives like a watercolory, I want to say sketchy, but that's not quite what I mean. Yeah, like a watercolory look. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not perfect. It's a little mottled, and you know, the blending isn't that. But I don't know. I kind of like it. So yeah, there's a little bunny page in Cute Mandalas. Oh, stuck this in. I guess I wouldn't have needed to, but I didn't want to stick my tab to the. And if any of you are ever doing this, if you want to mark a page, I've done this, and that's why I know this happens. If you stick a Post-it to a background that you've done with soft pastels that you haven't like fixed, when you pull the Post-it off, it pulls some of the pastel off, and then you've got this rectangular pale bit. So that's why there's a protector page there. There wouldn't really need to be because the opposite page didn't have much, but yeah. Learned that the hard way. Rita Berman. I love Rita Berman. I love the size of these books. I love her art style. And this isn't my first page in here. But I actually hadn't done that many in here. So, in fact, I think maybe only one other? Maybe? Maybe two. But just wanting to do, you know, a spring page, an Eastery page. So I had done this one back in, was it February? And this is a color palette inspired by the amazing, wonderful Karen Zucchini Kitty. Oh, sorry, straighten that out. And she did this color palette with polychromos. And it's sort of like a peachy beige, and then with pops of like kind of a muted green and turquoise. And she just, I mean, she's an outstanding colorist. So I had thought I would try and reproduce this color palette with Pitt pens. So that's what I did in February. And, oh, and then the background is like distress ink. So I thought, you know what? I'm still kind of obsessed with this color palette because I did do a number of pictures with this color palette. I'm going to try some more. So I did this one. So here we've got, I don't know, could be an Easter bunny. Could just be a bunny. But I wanted to use kind of that same color palette. So you can see a little bit of sparkle. Now the bunny shines. The bunny itself, I did not use Pitt pens. I used polychromos, and I used the warm grays. Just because Pitt pens, particularly on Rita Berman paper on an area that large, you would get some pretty streaky blending. And so I thought, well, I'm going to use polychromos with just to do the bunny itself, like the bunny fur. And I'm not great at doing fur, but you notice I didn't really worry about it either. You can still see some of the weight of the paper through, like if you look really closely. You see that? But I don't know, I thought that kind of maybe looked like fur. So I just left it that way. But all the other stuff is Pitt pen. So, you know, inside of the ear and all the decorative. The bunny's tail I actually covered over with just some white. It was like a white acrylic paint pen, and then just drew some little floofs on there so you could tell that it was a tail. And then, yeah, all the flowers, that's all Pitt pen. The sparkle on there is the Jelly Roll clear glaze, not glaze, Stardust pen. Excuse me, frog in my throat. And then again, distress ink background. It's Victorian velvet and gathered twigs kind of mixed together on a palette, and then just, you know, just dry brushed on. And then a stamp that I have, and again, all these ideas came from Karen, that's like dots. And then just, I think it's gathered, I used a little bit of gathered twigs and a little bit of Victorian velvet, and just, and then I think on this one, I also, yeah, you can see in the background, the whole background kind of sparkles a bit. It's not a, yeah, it's a very faint sparkle. I actually took this. So this is the Spectrum Noir version of like a Wink of Stella, but the clear version, the Spectrum Noir clear version, is clear. Whereas Wink of Stella, the clear, I don't know, almost has a bit of a gray tinge to it. I think maybe the mica flakes are bigger, I'm not sure. But I put some of this down on the smooth side of my Caran d'Ache palette, picked it up with the stamp, and then stamped. And so, I mean, I don't think you can tell that it's circles like you can with, you know, with the ink, but it just gave the background, I don't know. Actually, maybe I mean, I can. I don't know if you guys can. I can tell there's like little circles of sparkle in the background. But yeah, very muted, very, I just thought it was, yeah, I just love this color palette. Love, love, love it. Zucchini Kitty, Karen is a genius. Genius. This is a new book that I had never worked in before. Not new as in came out recently, but kind of new to me. 2021. So this is the page. Oh, sorry. Entangled Starry Skies. Again, Angela Porter. She tends to do very Zentangle-y, detailed pictures. Now, this is not as intricate as her insanely intricate book that I showed earlier, but still fairly. So this is, yeah, just the first page in there. The black background is, sorry, I started doing it with alcohol marker, but the paper it's quite rough. I think it's that newer paper. Alcohol markers tend to wick very badly on this paper, and they also lose their color, if that makes sense. You'll go to put black down and it doesn't end up remaining black. It ends up looking gray. Like they just sort of, as they dry, they fade out. So I started doing an alcohol marker background and it just wasn't as black as I wanted it to be. So I used this. So this is the Zig Art and Graphic Twin marker. I have a set of 80 of these. I really should do a water-based marker collection video because I have a lot of them. These are really good. I don't know, they're hard to find. They're by Kuretake, right? They're Zig. The nibs are a gorgeous foam nib, which you never find, or at least not very often, on water-based markers, right? Water-based brush tip markers are almost always a fiber nib, and they fray, right? This is foam, and I don't know if you can see, the point on that is as pointy as it was the day I bought it. And you can buy these open stock, but not from very many places, and I do need to get some more of the black. But the other end has just like a bullet. I don't use that end very often. But yeah, 80 colors, and yeah, gorgeous foam Japanese nib. So that's the background here. And on this paper, it almost looks velvety. And then the leaves were just another, I think I used my Lyra water-based markers, I should say, like these ones. So they're the Aqua Brush Duo. I was just into water-based markers this month. It's not perfectly smooth, a little bit mottled in places, but you know what? I'm okay with that. It's just using supplies that I have that I hadn't used in forever, right? I just wanted to use them. Then there is some outlining I did on the flowers with metallic gel pens. The centers of the flowers are like a Jelly Roll Gold. The stars are, I think, the Pentel Dual Metallic Gold, which is very similar to the Sparkle Pop Gold. There's a little bit of yellow glaze in the lantern, yellow glaze pen. The moon is 3 different colors, but very silvery pale of like the Tanmit glitter gel pens. The mushrooms, again, are just, I think it's all water-based marker. But this paper is very thin, right? So even the water-based markers are going through. But that's okay. It's single-sided, so. But yeah, just fun. I just didn't have to think very much. So that's Entangled Starry Skies, Angela Porter. Apparently I was on an Angela Porter kick. So this is Entangled Gardens. Not the first page that I've done in this book, but I wanted to do this one. And I wanted to try something different here. So, I don't know if you can see kind of like I don't know if you call it an ombre. Maybe I'm using that word incorrectly. Background. See how it starts at yellow and then it goes through kind of peach and into orange and then orange into pink. Probably easier to see on that side. So you got yellow. So I wanted to do that with alcohol markers just to see what kind of a blend I could get. And you know what? It's not bad considering this paper is, I mean, it's not great for alcohol marker blending, but not bad. The rest, I did a little bit of blending on the flower petals, on the purple ones, but that was about it. And I think that's Pit Pen, looks like. The white is just, again, the Uniball Signo, the white broad gel pen. This is red Jelly Roll Glaze for the berries. You can see them shining there. And then the centers of the flowers, it looks like there's maybe... It actually looks like, and then like those sections there, that looks to me like... was it the Guangna? Those golden markers? Yeah, the super golden markers. These ones. I think that looks like that to me. So I think I used the gold one there. And yeah, I mean, again, the color palette it's probably brighter maybe than I'm normally used to doing. I don't know if it goes or it works or... I wasn't really that I don't know, concerned about it, I guess. Oh, I did a little bit of shading on those leaves, I guess. But yeah. So that's Entangled Gardens, Angela Porter. Now, this was a big one for me. This was stressful. Other than, and I don't think it's not in this book. There was one other, I only have three or four. Maria Trolle, and I hope I'm saying that right, because I don't think it's troll and I don't think it's trolle. It's because you folks, the Swedish folks that watch, had tried to help me in my video when I was talking about this in a previous video, so I hope I'm getting that right. Trolle? Anyway, a previous book of hers, I had colored like the small, there was a little dragon image on, it was the cover page or the back of the something. But just this little image, and that's all I had colored out of Maria's books. Isn't that terrible? But I'm scared, right? They're hardcover, and what if I screw it up? So, but this month, I don't know. There was a freedom there. It's like, Connie, go for it. You can't, they're your books. If you don't like the page, start another page. So, in sticking with the spring theme and new book, and new supplies that I had purchased ages ago and never used, I did. Now, I'm calling this a double page spread. It isn't really, but it could be. So there we go. The background, you see on this page? Shine and shimmer there. This is the FW Pearlescent acrylic inks, and they come in, this is a green one, but they come in these little droppers, and they are you can get non-pearlescent, but most of the ones I have are the pearlescent inks. You have to shake these because the mica will settle to the bottom, and then I just put these in to use them because you don't actually need very much. Bought a little set of these etcher, they're watercolor palettes, they're travel palettes, and they're the perfect size for using with, and this is why I bought them, for using with these inks, because you don't want to put a lot of ink out, because once it dries, it's acrylic, you can't re-wet it, right? So if you have excess, you either have to put it back in the bottle, which isn't really going to work, or you just keep putting out small bits and small bits and small bits to use. So that's why this small palette worked really well, right? Because then I could put a small bit in and it wouldn't spread out. Like, I could still dip my brush in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can put a small bit in a regular size palette, but then it just kind of spreads out on the bottom. I don't know. Did I need these? No. Did I want them? Yes. Because they were super cute. Came in a little round tin. They're adorable. Anyway, so there are actually 3 different colors. Now, it's so shiny, I don't know if you can see that. What if does that help? Oh, maybe I don't even need the lights. It is daytime right now, but it was there's a weird shadow on my desk, but maybe it'll be okay. So I don't know if you can see. So I tried to do darker, and then right around all the florals is a lighter, paler blue. And then all the coloring is Pitt pens. So this was the first time I used Pitt pens on Maria's paper. Other than, like I say, that little image that I colored. I don't remember when it was. And I don't even remember if that was Pitt pens. The white flowers are the white Signal broad, so that's not, but everything else is Pitt pen. So, I mean, shading was possible. As far as I can see, nothing went through. I did manage to get some blue ink on the back side of the page, but that's not because it soaked through. It was, I had this, because I went right to the edge of the page, I did have a protective page underneath, but I must have gotten some of the ink on the protective page and then moved it underneath. That's probably what happened. And then this page, the background is those acrylic brush markers, like the Artex. And again, I tried to do like kind of almost an ombre. I don't know if you can tell. It's more of a purple in the background down here at the bottom, and that goes through blue and then gets a lighter blue up here. It's pretty subtle, I guess. But all the coloring here was also pit pens. I'm not sure if these are tulips, peonies. Tulips, I guess, because that would be tulip leaves. Grape hyacinths. And I wasn't sure what these were. Now that I look at them, they're probably violets, which means they shouldn't have been yellow, but I don't know. To go with this, I figured they should be yellow. This, I did a little bit of modification on this flower. It did have these kind of wavy, can you see that? Like there's a pattern. It had those wavy lines, and I just added little cross bits to make like a checkerboard, and then colored it as a fritillaria. I don't think in the back of this one, because Maria does have, is it Maria? I think she does have in the back of some of her newer books, doesn't she have like a listing of the plants? This is Twilight Garden. I think she has it in Botanicum, but she didn't here, so I was just guessing. But a fritillaria, it's like a tulip, but it hangs down instead of standing up. And it has this checkerboard, it actually has a checkerboard pattern. That's how it grows. So that's what I was going for there. So just in case anybody was wondering what the heck I was trying to do there, I was trying to make it look like a fritillaria. And then on this one, other than the background being super metallic, I don't think I put any sparkle or anything. So I let the background do the shining. On this page, I think I tried to do a little bit of a bokeh effect up here at the top. I don't know how well that comes through. And then I dotted the clear Jelly Roll glaze up top just to make little sparkly points. The bee's wings, I put like it's some sort of iridescent color changing paint over top. I don't remember which one it was. And then I took a yellow Moonlight Jelly Roll and then also a yellow Stardust Jelly Roll and made like the bee is trailing some pollen. Can you see that? I don't know. It was something to do. But yeah, you know what? I'm very proud that I finally did a page in one of Maria's books. And I really liked it. And I really like these inks. I don't know if you can see, they went down fantastically. And I didn't have to, go back with a second coat. Often with metallic watercolor, you have to go back with, a second or third coat, or you have to put an underpainting of something else underneath. Otherwise, it doesn't cover, it doesn't have great coverage, and it looks kind of splotchy if you want that solid look. Now, I guess I could have also used, I do have some metallic acrylic paints that I could have used, but I had these inks, right? And unlike acrylic paint, these are liquidy, but they're a thicker liquid, and they just covered beautifully on this paper. So I think I'm definitely going to be using those more. And I just thought it was something different to have, absolutely no shine or glitter on the image. All the shine and glitter is in the background. And this is sort of the opposite. This background got a little bit of... No, actually it's not the opposite, because I don't think I put any glitter on the... I lied. The only glitter was on the bee. So yeah, there's some Maria pages that I did. Then I thought I would grab another book that I have never colored in. I think I mentioned before, I actually have 4 Lulu Mayo books, and I colored, not in this one, it was in the Magical Creatures book, and I colored the title page. And I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. And I was questioning, I had these Lulu Mayo books, and did I even enjoy her style of art? And then I was looking at them. And I was looking at the cover image and the coloring of it. And I thought, there's not one whit of shading anywhere on any of these colorings. Not one. There's some fur drawn in there. But nothing has shading. Nothing has shadows, nothing has highlights. It's just flat coloring. And yet, the color palette is adorable. We love it. I thought, well, why don't I just tackle Lulu Mayo like that and not worry about, and have it just be fun and not be serious coloring and not have to worry about shading and all these other things. So I thought, why not? So this is what I did. So I don't know if the colors work. There's very little shading. In fact, I'm not even sure there's any. There's maybe a tiny bit of shading in the cherry blossoms. And I colored this entire page with, I think it was these. It was the Lyra Aquabrush Duo markers. And there was a few places where I did a little bit of shading. And I can see a tiny, tiny bit of bleed through right there. Tiny bit right there. There. Just tiny bits, which if I were to color this page would be easily covered up. But yeah, just had fun. Because I don't know if the colors work. I wasn't really worried about it. I also did something that I've never done before, which is outline. Although I guess did I do this first or that one first? I don't remember. Outlining, like covering up the black lines. I think I tried it once on one flower on a Joanna Basford page and was like, no, I don't like this. So I actually drew it back in. But this one I thought, I'm just going to cover the black lines on the cherry blossoms because they can sort of go into the background and then have, the fox and the little baby fox is adorable with their sweaters and the owls. But the blossoms can go into the background and that'll be fine. So, and you know what? I really like it. I just used a Tule Art paint pen. Sort of I don't know if it exactly matches the pink, but it was close. And then I left the black line art for everything else. And you know what? It actually, I think, made the animals in the tree stand out more. So, like, these weren't robins. I just made them little European robins. They were getting lost in with all the flowers, and I think by me covering the line work of the cherry blossoms, I think they pop out more. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a little streaky and a little splotchy like when I was doing the grass there at the bottom, but I drew in some fur on the fox. So I colored the fox a solid color and then took, I think, maybe one or two slightly darker orange-red colors and then the white pit pen and just did all these flick, just to make it look like fur. But I mean, if you look up close, again, like a watercolor, if you look at a watercolor painting, well, the traditional sort of loose watercolor, if you look at it up close, or even like impressionist, doesn't even have to be watercolor, but impressionist style of painting, if you look really close, it doesn't look real, right? That was the whole point of the Impressionism movement, as far as I understand it. My coloring, I don't know, I don't get drawn towards realism. So I thought, why not just embrace that? It doesn't look real, but I think it indicates it's a fox and it's got fur. And that was okay. That was good enough for me. The owls, I tried to do a little bit of flicking to indicate feathers, but I didn't worry about it on the bunny. The flowers are just a two-color kind of pink blend. The centers, I think I colored in with, looks like probably the Jelly Roll Gold. The white flowers are the white Signo Broad, like daisies. And everything else was these Lyra Aquabrush Duo water based markers. I will say, before I was talking about doing the black background with these Zig Art and Graphic Twin, these are really juicy. And I don't know if the ink has a different formulation, but if you are going to, because I know a lot of people like the water-based markers because they don't bleed through, or they bleed through minimally, right? And I would say that's true for the Lyra. I mean, you can't go over and over and over a spot, but I would say minimal bleed through with these. These bleed through. and they'll bleed through even Joanna Basford paper. So you really have to be careful where you use these. Beautiful foam nib, great markers. But I don't know what it is. If they're because they're juicy, if it's because of the nib, I don't really know. But they will bleed through. So I would not be using these Zig Art and Graphic Twin markers on double-sided pages unless you don't care about the backside. Whereas, yeah, I think the Lyra ones are fine. Yeah. So that was fun. Again, had never colored. And I think if I... Oh, and I was doing some testing on the front just because I wanted to see what would bleed through and what wouldn't. But I think if I approach these Lulu Mayo books with that idea where, you know, I'm looking at her, there's no shading. She used, so instead of shading here, she used, you know, blue, a little bit lighter blue, a little bit lighter blue. But it's not like each petal has shading. And I thought, that's brilliant. Now, I don't know if she did the coloring for the cover. Maybe, maybe not. Quite often they'll, you know, they'll hire a, sometimes it'll say, yeah, it doesn't say there. It just says illustrations by Lulu Mayo. So maybe she did the coloring too. But I love this. It's such a beautiful spring color, you know, palette with pops of gold. And yeah, I think that's how I'm going to approach Lulu Mayo. It just makes me happy. So that's good. And my last page, again, untouched book I'd never colored in. Rita Berman. This is her under the, I know, I should translate it. Something about a walk on the land under the microscope. I'm not sure. I apologize. But I had not really, I guess I did that other Rita Berman page with the bunny that could have been an Easter page. But other than that, I really hadn't done, I'd done some spring pages. So I thought, well, I should probably do a page with Easter eggs on it. And I went back to the tried and true Zucchini Kitty palette. And I did that. So here we've got, I did some Easter eggs. I tried to make them look like kind of an antique gold. I don't know if that worked or not. Again, pit pens. It's all pit pen coloring. The blending is not going to be as smooth as if you use pencil, but I'm just kind of embracing it. It's kind of modeled, you know, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Little bit of, so the designs on the eggs, I just took a gold jelly roll. So if they'll shine there or not. And just colored in the designs a little bit. I didn't want anything that was too, you know, distracting from the color palette. And then just that really pretty, you know, you've got the beigey peaches and gold, little pops of turquoise, the muted greens. I used an ivory pit pen to do a lot of, like, up here it looks kind of more orangey. I actually just took the cinnamon pit pen and then blended it out with the ivory. So, I mean, that's a pretty big jump, but you get this gorgeous orange. In here, on the vines, I used 167 was a permanent green olive, and again, blended it out with the ivory. So you get a paler green just from, because, I mean, ivory is basically, it's really pale yellow. You're combining it with a green. Yeah. Same thing here. I think it was cinnamon and ivory. Tried to make the berries look gold. The white flowers are the Uniball Signo. Background is the same distress ink, and then the dots. In the other ones, I sort of did the bunny one. I think the ink, there's different terms for this, but I don't know. I can't remember what they are. If you do the ink and then have it fade out, this one, I did it right to the edge of the page and had it fade in. There's words for that. Sorry, I don't know what they are. I did this like a little golden ear of wheat. But yeah. And the background, I did put a little bit of, I just sort of took the clear Jelly Roll Stardust and just dot, dot, dot. The body of the little butterfly here, I think I colored over with the clear Jelly Roll Glaze. So there's a little bit of shine there. Here and there on the flowers, like the little centers here are gold. Again, I think it's just gold Jelly Roll. So just little bits of sparkle here and there, but nothing too wild. But yeah, and I think this was actually the last page I colored in March, because I think I finished this on Sunday, which was Easter. Now, I think at the beginning of this video, I did a little intro with my birds, and I said I was filming that on Easter Day, which I was. But I didn't finish this until later on Easter night, so I'm filming this on... This part of it is being filmed on April 1st. And I should also correct myself. I think in the intro of the video with the birds, I think I called it a downy woodpecker, which was right. And then the other larger one I said was a hoary woodpecker, but it's not. It's a hairy woodpecker. Sorry. There are hoary redpolls out there, but the bigger woodpecker is a hairy woodpecker. So, just in case any of you are bird aficionados and you thought, that's not right, Connie. You're right, it wasn't. But that is my completed pages for March. I had a blast. I let go. I think that's what it was. I didn't worry about perfectionism. I didn't worry about if some of the pages were flat coloring and had no shading. I didn't worry about, oh, this is a new supply. I don't know how it's going to work. I just went for it. Some of them worked out. Some of them did not. But you know what? I think that's okay. And I didn't really plan any of them. And I know a lot of you love to plan your pages. I think because of my day job, I'm a chemistry teacher, for those of you that don't know. My day job involves a lot of plan, and I love to plan. But I guess for my coloring, I just want to let go of that part. So yeah, it seems to be working. That's also why you don't tend to see me do, my, April coloring plan videos or March coloring plan. I don't have a plan. I just sort of look at my books and whatever takes my fancy, I pick a page and go for it. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. I hope you got some ideas and hope you liked taking a little walk with me through my March completed pages. If you like what you see, consider hitting the like button, subscribing, leaving me a comment, sharing with friends you think they might like the videos too. I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is well. And I hope everybody is enjoying their coloring. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.